Well, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
No problem. Happy to
Thank
be here in my house,
in your
talking to you
house. Yeah,
via the
as we all
internet.
are.
Got a cup
We,
of tea, so no worries.
that's right. I've just had mine, so it's all good.
I want to add the slurping to the interview.
How are you? How have you? I've asked. We spoke to so many people over like lockdown and stuff. How have you kind of coped with it? And has it kind of? Were you on any movies beforehand that kind of got shut down, or were you lucky to kind of be in between stuff?
Now, I was on one. I was in America, Alabama, doing a film with Dolph Lundgren, and we'd only shot half the day, and we were like, are they going to shut us down? Are we going to be okay? What's going to happen? And when I first got there, there was only a few cases in Alabama. And then, as the weeks were, well, I was only there for a week, and we're getting more cases every day. And then, we shot half a day, had to get shut down. So that film is my first port of call. That's the one I've got to complete contractually. But at the moment, I can't get into America.
Of
So,
course, yeah. Does that
yeah.
affect? I guess that affects movies after that, doesn't it? Because I guess not just you, but everybody in the industry is having to fit in the movie that they were
Yeah.
starting, or there's lots of people that were like middle of the movie, or they'd shot like 2 days, or like 2 days from finishing. It's a strange circumstance that you guys have, got to kind of navigate in a strange way.
Everything's shut down. I mean, I don't know. You'd be lucky to be on something at the moment. My agent tells me that he hasn't got anyone working. I know they're doing Matrix 4's just started up, Mission Impossible. They're big movies that can probably take the bump if they have to shut down for a bit to figure out whatever might be going on. But for a smaller independent movie, which is what I tend to do more of, you got no chance. Because you can't get insurance for COVID-19. So if I'm going to do a film in the UK and we can't get insured for COVID-19 and we start up and then somebody gets it, we've got to shut down the production, we've got to keep paying people, we've got to, all this goes on, and who's going to pay for it? Have they got a bottomless checkbook? Probably not.
I know for you personally. I mean, you forgive me for saying it, but you obviously make a lot of movies at a lot of time. I mean, I know in the last few years you've made not back to back, but you get through a lot of movies because of the way you make them, I guess. So this must be a strange experience, given that you've been working so consistently for the last few years on various different things.
Yeah, well, it's strange in various ways, many ways, but actually it's been nice to be with the kids and be at home. It's been hard doing the homeschooling, don't get me wrong. Well, my wife's been doing that, but I've got two kids, 9-year-old girl, so my wife does most of the homeschooling with her, and that's hard work. And I'm left with a little one who's 2, little boy, and that's hard work, So I did say to myself when it started, I'm going to come out of this with scripts written, and I'm going to, be proactive and all the rest of it, but I haven't really been able to do much except for deal with him.
I'll ask you about your movie because I watched it earlier, and the first question I want to ask you is: was it as much fun to make as it was to watch? Because it looked like you were all having an absolute blast making this movie, which I can imagine is the same on most of your sets when they come to these action movies.
I got to tell you, I got to burst your bubble.
Oh,
They're not fun to make.
oh no.
No, generally my films are not fun to make. Yeah. Number one, fight sequences are very painful if you're doing them right. Number two, unfortunately for me, a lot of my movies have a bit of a tight schedule. It's not like you got time to take it easy and have a laugh with everyone. Hey, let's have a bit of fun and maybe we'll do some work in a minute. I've been on some sets like that with their big budgets. On Doctor Strange with your padded floor and everything, when you do the stunts, it's nice and easy. Got all the time in the world to get the shots. This was not one of those movies where, going 100 miles an hour, trying to make our day. What you'll never see on screen is all the issues we have behind the scenes. And we had a few on this one where locations are falling through, and like the DP, selfishly, his wife decided to give birth early. So we lost him for a bit, all these stressful things going on. Obviously that couldn't be helped. But, different things like that you don't even know about watching the movie. But yeah, very stressful. And to be honest, most of them are like that. And I work very hard, and every film I'm doing, it's like, okay, well, this is the next one that's going to come out. I'm going to be judged on this. It's got to be as good as it can possibly be. Come on, guys. And I can be a bit of a tyrant at times, to be honest, trying to push people just to make it as good as it can be, because that's my attitude. And I want everyone else to think that way, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, let's get it done.
How many days did you shoot this one in? Because was it a really short shooting schedule? I mean, obviously very different to something like Doctor Strange, but I can imagine it was quite, as you say,
Yeah.
quite fast and furious.
Yeah, well, it was the same as the first one. It's Debt Collector 2, really. I mean, they're calling it Payback, but it's Debt Collector 2. And so we figured we'd do the same as we did on the first one. First one was very difficult. It was received very well. So we said, okay, well, let's same budget as that one. Let's write the script. Let's do it. We should have the same results, and we can all be proud of it. But we had a lot of things going on behind the scenes, to be honest, which you can't tell when you watch the movie, but it was one of the more difficult ones. And I also tore my hamstring, and I got really dehydrated in one of the fight scenes and had to be put on a drip, and all sorts of stuff was going on. It was quite a tough one.
Yeah, you won't see that on the behind the scenes documentary or whatever, where you guys, maybe you would. I mean, to highlight.
Couldn't afford the behind the scenes documentary guy.
Well, it's good fun to watch anyway, and obviously, as you say, it's kind of a second one, so you must have been delighted with the response to the first one, because even though you guys, you're not a Marvel movie or anything else, but you have such a core audience and such an anticipation for these movies, because people love what you do and love the films that you make. So it must be great to go from one to another, knowing that you have that audience that will always buy into your movies.
Well, absolutely, and that's why I work as hard as I do, because I don't want to disappoint them. We don't take it for granted. If people like what we're doing, we're privileged to have that, and it comes from hard work and determination, and that's what we take into every project. Me, Jesse, the writers, the editor, the DP, the same team. I wanted to do this movie. One of the main reasons was to work with Mandylor again, because I had such a great experience working with him. But don't get me wrong, we did have a good laugh. I mean, a lot of this movie is what's great about it is the banter that we have between us, and we've got that going on when we're not filming as well. To be honest, he's a good lad.
And then obviously you work with Jesse again. I mean, I would assume you have a good relationship with him, given you've made quite a number of movies with him. But you seem to have quite a collaborative relationship between the two of you, obviously writing and directing and producing and doing all the stunts and stuff like that. It seems like you two have a really good kind of understanding of what you both want from your movies.
Yeah, it is a collaboration. I think that's why it works so well. We'll come up with these ideas between us, and it'll be a conversation, and creating the scripts. It's all done between me and Jesse and Stu Small. They do more than I do writing wise, and that's why I don't get a credit, and rightfully so, but I'm definitely there from the get-go, and my voice is certainly heard. So yeah, it's very much collaboration. And then we shoot these movies, and Jesse leans on me quite heavily with the action stuff, because I've been doing that since 1999 professionally, so I've got a lot of experience there. But Jesse's able to get a good performance out of me every film. But also I think that's because we're creating this character from the ground up together as well, so you understand that character on a deeper level. And maybe the character is tailored to things that I know that I can do best. Although in the next one, we're going to do something different and take a bit of risk. But, it's certainly a collaboration. And I think that's why we've both been doing arguably what's been our best work.
Yeah.
Working together.
Yeah.
We bring out the best in each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, obviously, in terms of an audience, I mean, these movies have such a global audience. I mean, these are movies that released in the UK, released in the US, but there's around Europe and around the rest of the world. I mean, there's so many people really have this massive appetite for these kind of movies, and you can see it particularly in your movies that, like you say, you take your time, you make sure you try and give the audience exactly what they want and surprise them, but play into that core audience, given that it's such a global reach in these movies, whether it's on demand or DVD or anything like that. There's such a big audience for these movies. Is that kind of daunting, that they can travel so far?
Not really. I mean, that's what you want. Action films travel well because you don't need to subtitle somebody smashing somebody's face in. Everybody kind of gets it. So that's why they always travel well. I mean, I'm a big fan of action cinema from different parts of the world, because you just get on board it and enjoy the physicality of it. But what me and Jesse have been doing is bring in more of a cerebral side to it, and certainly the characters I've been playing in my movies with him, I definitely talk a lot more, which is unusual for a lot of action stars. You know, it's not like what Charlie Bronson was doing. It's very wordy, very, very English in most of them. And that's from Stu Small, the other writer. He knows how to write for me because we go back a long way. We're friends from school. So there's a lot of wit in there. And yeah, it just, they travel well because the action's always there. We always make sure we have enough action to satisfy a worldwide audience.
Yeah. And like you say, I mean, there's such an immense kind of physicality to yours, you know, you because you don't have the luxury of, as you say, green screens and everything else, it really gives it a different edge to what the other movies might have. And I've, especially watching this one, I could feel most of the punches myself, do you know what I mean? And the shootouts and everything. But that must be good that you know that you're, because you're delivering that. It's different to say you watch a big budget movie you can go, well, that looks fake to me. That doesn't look like that person. Whereas it looks like most of the time it's you, or you do as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got the superhero films and everything, and they're great and I love them. And they need to be a load of CGI, otherwise you couldn't conceivably film it. I mean, Spider-Man, we're all gagging for a Spider-Man movie for so many years, but it was impossible to make. You know, even James Cameron couldn't crack that one. And then when the CG was there, you know, Sam Raimi, who's one of my all-time favorite directors, got to make the first incredible, well, one of the first of the new sort of superhero movies. But why are we changing the way we used to do it with normal action films? You know, the Lethal Weapons and the Die Hards and the films that I grew up loving, like, you know, your Rambos and your Commandos and all that. There's something about that down and dirty, gritty, real action that is really appealing. And sometimes I feel like I'm watching a cartoon with some of these action films. And it's, yeah, you can't do a superhero movie any other way. I get that. But, you know, I miss the old sort of action movies of the 80s and 90s. And that's what I'm proud to be, you know, still doing, hopefully.
And you mentioned Sam Raimi there. I mean, again, this is a Marvel movie and anything can happen, but have they given you indication about Doctor Strange 2? Because I'd imagine, you know, given Doctor Strange 1, but that would have been an amazing opportunity if it was to happen. But you never know. You never know.
Oh, you never know. But I'm pretty sure that my character's dead.
Yeah.
My character's dead. Yeah, pretty sure about that.
Is that disappointing though, given how big now that Sam Raimi's taken it on, that you don't get to go back?
Yeah, Sam Raimi, I'm a huge fan. Evil Dead 2, all the way. Dark Man, what a fantastic movie that is. So many good films. I love the fact he's doing Doctor Strange 2, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be asked to come back.
That's a shame. I mean, he is pretty definitively dead, but it's a superhero movie. You never know, but you know.
You never know.
If you were Doctor Strange,
I kind of wish I hadn't used up my Marvel card on that one.
Wait until number 2. Maybe, for you, you mentioned him earlier, working with Dolph Lundgren, someone I really admire and really love his movies and stuff since he was He-Man, because I was a huge nerd about He-Man when I was a kid. But is there anyone else that you, obviously I know you've done a few bits here and there, but is there anyone else that you really kind of would love to work to before your career is out? Is there a big action star or just any actor or actress or director apart from Sam Raimi that you'd love to work with?
Oh, there's a lot of directors I'd love to work with. There's a lot of actors I'd love to work with. In terms of action guys, I think I've pretty much worked with, you know, all of them really. Directors, I mean, big fan of Gareth Evans, obviously. Chad Stahelski, you know, the John Wick films, obviously. That's the sort of thing I could see, those two directors, I could see myself working with those guys and, you know, having a great experience. You know, and then your Spielbergs and your Scorseses and all the dream list and actors like De Niro and Denzel Washington and Anthony Hopkins. Got to work with Gary Oldman, and he's always been one of my favorite actors, so that was great. But yes, there's so many actors and directors that I'd love to work with, so many.
Yeah. Did you ever see, I don't know if I know you're on social media and stuff like that. Did you ever see there was a bit of a semi-petition for you to maybe play Batman at some point? I remember seeing some like fan art as Batman. Did you ever come across that stuff?
Oh yeah, I've seen it, yeah. And I don't know, it's quite flattering really that there are quite a few people out there say that I should be Batman, and obviously that's good publicity, so keep on saying it. It's, you know, it's very difficult to be picked to be one of those huge tentpole, you know, the face of Batman. I mean, Batman getting that role is like playing Hamlet or or Bond, you know, it's like just a huge life-changing part to get, isn't it? So, you know, I did audition for it, and that was leaked, and that's what the whole thing was there. But I thought it was a good audition, to be honest, so I didn't mind.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Hey, it was a pretty good
yeah,
audition.
yeah.
If I say so myself.
There's some auditions I've done that really should not see the light of day, but that one was okay.
That one was all right. Yeah. Hey, if you're
Yeah.
gonna be good and have one leaked, it's probably good that it's something like Batman, which is quite a good, nice little show reel. Put on your show reel, nice, nice little thing there.
Yeah.
In terms of your movies posts, obviously you talked about, you know, obviously COVID and you're shut down and stuff. I mean, are you happy with you being able to be involved in the making of your movies, or are you still open to maybe if someone came to you with an idea and said, hey, I've got this idea, it's very, very different, we think you're right for it? I mean, are you open to both, or is it just you just kind of following wherever it takes you?
Well, you know, you're only at the mercy of the projects that get offered to you. So, you know, people seem to think that I can just go out there and say, right, I want to play this part. You know, you have to be offered the part. Sometimes something will come through to me that I think the script's not that good, but the idea is really good. So it'd be like, okay, I think I'd like to work on it with you, and I think we can improve it. Are you open to that? Is there enough time? We have that conversation. Other times I might give an idea of mine to a writer to write, which is happening at the moment, some things like that. And then there's other times when a job just comes up, and you know, you haven't got anything booked and you want to work. You got to put food on the table, and you say, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, there's certainly some jobs that I probably shouldn't have done. But at the end of the day, I'm a professional actor, and that's how I make a living. And you know, want to keep working. And I feel like the more I do, the better I get anyway. So I've always kept working, and you know, I have got better because of it.
Just as a final question, then, obviously Payback is out very, very soon. I mean, it's a sequel, but it's one of those movies that you could probably watch by itself. I mean, for you, I mean, what's kind of the selling point for you about the movie? What would you say to people that might go and click on the rent button when it comes out next week?
It's a throwback to those sort of buddy cop movies in a way, but we're not cops. We're debt collectors. So the world is very down and dirty, but interesting, with all these colourful criminal type characters. Set in Los Angeles, the city's almost like a character itself. And you got these two characters, Sue and French, played by me, and Louis Mandylor. And we've very much got that sort of you know, Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte dynamic, where we're kind of friendly, but we piss each other off as well. But we've got a job to do, and we're stuck together, and we've got to do it. And it's, the action is real. There's lots of humor in there, and it's just a good fun ride. Bit of a throwback to the old 80s, 90s movies, which I know people are missing. So go and give yourself a treat.
Yeah, for sure.
Payback.
Yeah, for sure. I miss them terribly, but I've always got my Blu-ray collection.
Yeah, but you want something fresh as well.
Yeah, nice
something
and fresh.
A little bit familiar.
A little bit familiar. It was very, very good. I really, really enjoyed it. Scott, thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us, and stay safe, and hope everything with the movie that you get to go back and finish later in the year.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks
for having me. Thanks for your time. Pleasure. Cheers.
Okay, mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You